Wait, you can't hear like background noise, right? Because like my brother's like cooking in the
No,
kitchen.
I
Okay.
don't hear anything.
Okay,
He's
perfect.
cooking. What is he cooking?
Eggs. He cooks one
Eggs.
thing. Yeah. They're pretty good, actually. His eggs are pretty good.
But you can't tell him that.
No, no.
Whatever, I can just record through Zoom. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't even care.
Nothing matters.
Are we some kind of last dinner party?
Honestly, they should have had that in the soundtrack.
True. Well, I feel like they should have had the soundtrack different in a couple ways, and I do want to get into
Really?
that.
I actually also have thoughts about the soundtrack.
Okay, well, soundtrack. Let's just get into it. Welcome back to Pulp Diction. I'm your host, Dylan Gibson. Who am I here with today?
You're here with Regan Burke.
Regan, previously
Yes.
joined on the Interstellar episode, and was that the
Yes.
only one so far?
So far, yeah. Big Christopher Nolan sort of
Yeah, we're
sequence
continuing
here.
the pattern. This is probably only the second Nolan movie we've talked about on the pod in general.
Oh, I'm honored.
And yeah, which Nolan movie are we talking about today?
We are talking about the Odyssey, of course.
The Odyssey, of course, released this year, the year of our Lord 2026. Was it July? I wanna
Yeah,
say?
yeah.
And released to mostly good reviews. There was, of course, like, some complaints before and after the release about woke and whatnot. But like, I I don't think you or I care too much about those critiques.
Who gives a rat's
However,
ass?
who gaffs, bro? However, I think you and I both have other things to say about this movie, good and bad.
Yes.
I would assume. What was interesting, I saw on your letterbox.com your second time logging it. You lowered it like a full star.
Oh, you saw that? I thought it was being sneaky. I thought you would see.
No, I see everything on the
Wait, did you say
box.
letterbox.com? Are you an internet letterbox user?
No, I just like to say letterbox.com. I think
Okay.
it flows off the tongue quite
I
nicely.
agree. I agree. Yeah, I did. I went from 4.5 to 3.5. And I think that original 4.5 was really because I was just so impressed.
Yeah.
It's an
It's an
impressive
impressive
movie.
film.
Yeah. And I think a lot of Christopher Nolan's movies are going to be impressive. Interstellar is impressive. Everything he does is sort of like big.
Right.
So the 4.5 was just me sitting in the theater being like, holy shit, like what is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a technical feat. I think no one can say Nolan is not a fantastic technical director.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about that on Interstellar, just how well he does all these things practically, and
Yeah.
he just, yeah, as a technical director, he's fantastic. But I've come to realize, like, I don't know that I respect him as much as an artist and a writer as I do as a
Ooh.
director.
See, it's really comforting to hear you say that because I came to the same conclusion
Yeah.
after watching this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like okay, the writing for one thing, I think it's written fine. The dialogue is a little wooden at times,
Yeah.
a lot of times. The pacing feels weird. That might be more of an editing issue. I think particularly in the first like third of the movie, pretty much up until they get to the Cyclops, which I guess, I don't know, if you don't know what the Odyssey is about, what are you even doing? But Odysseus, who wins the Trojan War, tries to get back home. Matt Damon's trying to get back home. Whatever. Oldest
Yeah.
story like ever. And yeah, they get to but like up until the Cyclops scene, the whole movie is edited almost like a montage. I keep calling
Yeah.
it trailer editing, where it's like the dialogue barely has time to sit and like stir. And a lot of these shots in the movie barely have time to sit,
Yeah.
which is one of my issues. But just it feels so strange. It doesn't. It's just trying to move on one thing to the next without any like artistic rhyme or reason behind it, other
Yeah,
than
for
we
sure.
need to get to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I think a lot of what Nolan does is like not so much his artistic choices are his technical choices. He doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't describe him as really having a style beyond like that practical stuff, or even maybe like confusing-ish, irregular narratives.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, it's impressive. It's impressive that he did the Odyssey. It's impressive that he did the entire thing on IMAX film.
Yeah.
But I don't think that there's really much reason for that beyond just to do it.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
yeah.
I think a lot of the editing issues that, you're sort of pointing to are something that I actually discussed with Charlotte when we were, talking about the movie. And we both kind of agreed that like they would like say something and then like it would be sort of like a heavy thing that they could really sit with and let the actors act, and instead they just like flip flop to the next thing, which
Yeah.
to be fair is the Odyssey. Like the Odyssey is so long and there's so much in it, and I think they really tried to jam pack so much in it. Like it could have been easily like a 4.5 hour film if they had like just kind of like stretch everything out and let it breathe, and you just can't do that, So I think that you're right that there's sort of like trailer editing kind of vibe in the beginning, and I think actually it could have benefited from just having less
I don't
in
disagree.
the movie. Yeah, like it feels big. It feels like an Odyssey. Like he's going through so many things, but none of these things really feel significant.
Yes. I totally agree. He's doing all these big things without stopping for a minute to like give us a reason to care why it should feel big.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
we talked about with Interstellar, and you referenced in your Odyssey review the emotional core of the movie being like the whole reason it works. And with the Odyssey, I feel like you just can't connect as deeply on an emotional level with pretty much any character here. But I will say, I was rooting for Odysseus by the end. There was a moment or two that hit at least a little bit for me. I think dogs are kind of an emotional cheat code, but
100%.
the Argus bit did get me right here a little bit.
Yeah, I think there is Nolan does a really good job of building that sort of suspense, and like you like want them together and together, like you want Odysseus to be back with Penelope, and even like up to their like meeting, I guess, the first time, like there's a screen in between them. Like you feel the walls between them, and you're just like, you're just like, take your mask off, bro. Like take the hood off, like open the screen, just like be together, be together, be together. So I think that's something that they were really successful at,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that whole final act is kind of a lot of payoff for what's been set up for the first like almost 3 hours of the movie. But I feel like it, and while it is satisfying enough, it's the same issue I have with a lot of the movie where like it's okay when it could have been great. It should have been a lot of payoffs for a lot of setups. I think the biggest one for me is how Tom Holland has his little training sequence in the beginning, and John Leguizamo tells him to like leave himself open so that his opponent will make a mistake. And I feel like you could have had a really satisfying payoff for that at the end when he's fighting the one dude throwing the weapons down, and you see him leave himself open, and that's how he gets the guy. And maybe he did do that. I'm not too sure. But it wasn't obvious. But it wasn't obvious because I just don't think Nolan is very good at shooting fight choreography.
Okay.
And it's an issue he's had since his Batman movies. And like the fight scenes are another thing where they're good. I think they're fun to watch. Matt Damon going like Bronze Age John Wick on people. But it's like it doesn't follow the action as smoothly or satisfyingly as something like John Wick with Chad Stahelski at the helm, where like you can follow the choreography and see exactly what's going on, remember some of the moves. I couldn't tell you like anything Odysseus did except for like maybe spinning around with the axes. That was silly. That was fun. I liked that.
That was good.
But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's something I didn't even think about, but now that you're saying it, that
Hmm.
like you should never really be bored during a fight scene,
Yes.
and like I was watching, and it's a long fight scene. That final
Long.
sequence, it's like 20 minutes long, and
Hmm.
I remember sitting there, and I was just like, all
Are we
right,
done? Yeah.
yeah. I'm just like, there's really more of them. Come on, like,
Hmm.
Jesus. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What I was talking about with my friends afterwards the other day, my second time seeing it, was it would have been really ballsy of him. So, you know how they cast Travis Scott
Hmm.
as a storyteller? I think
Yeah,
it's a cool choice.
I
His
agree.
justification for it was that like rappers and singers are like the modern day poets or storytellers or
Yeah.
whatever. And I agree. I think that's really cool. We thought it would have been cool if he like leaned into it even more
Hmm.
and made like a batshit insane music choice for that
Yeah.
final scene, like a rap
Hmm.
song or something, as
Yeah.
Odysseus is killing people. Like it would have been an actual choice, a
Hmm.
lot of which he didn't really make throughout the
Yeah.
movie. It would have had everybody talking about it. A lot of people would
Hmm.
have hated it. A lot of people would have
Yeah.
loved it. I think that would have been so cool. I think we just started talking about that because some like JPEG Mafia song or something in the car had the word Odyssey in it, and I'm like, they should have played this. And then
Well,
we unironically
yeah,
started thinking about it.
it's so crazy you say that. My sister and I had the same sort of thought.
Really?
Yeah, because the credits, the
Yeah.
song is, I think that's Travis
It
Scott,
is.
right?
I believe it's Travis Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like exactly that sort of vibe that like. And when my sister and I heard that for the first time, we were like, "What is that? Like, what are we listening to right now?"
Yeah.
And then we were like, "Wait, that would have been really
What
cool
like they should have
throughout the
done more
whole."
stuff like that in the movie instead of
Yeah.
like saving it for the
Hmm.
credits.
I will say there was a couple moments that I was actually really impressed by the score. There
Hmm.
was, I think the song is just called Troy, and I'm fairly certain it's the song that's used when they're like
Sacking
breaking into,
Troy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's that song that just kind of feels like it's like continuously like speeding up and speeding up and
Like
speeding
the
up.
drums, it's very
Yes,
anxiety inducing.
yes, yes, yes.
I like that a lot.
I saw a video about it, and it's basically like they use certain audio tricks or whatever to make it feel like it's continually speeding up. So basically, what
Mm.
they do is like a combination of like a couple different things, but the main two things they do are they have like a beat, right?
Yeah.
They have the original beat, whatever, and then they have a double time version of that beat on top of it, and a halftime version below it, right? And
Right.
you like as you play it, like the tempo doesn't change. You just make the double time version quieter as you make the halftime
Mm.
louder. And so like
Oh.
eventually like it feels like it's speeding up and speeding up and speeding up,
Mm-hmm.
but in reality it's staying the same. And then like you just kind of like loop that, so like it feels like it's like continue whatever. And then they do the same thing with pitches. So like like the trick like continuously rising pitch
Yeah.
or whatever. So it's actually just a bunch of different pitches, and like you kind of quiet the high ones as you make the low ones louder,
I
and then like
see.
eventually you sort of like loop in the high ones again, and like it feels like it's rising. So that's what they did for that song, and I was watching the breakdown of this, and I was like, that's actually pretty.
That's
That's
so
pretty fucking
cool.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I love when I have people who know music on the podcast so they can say things that I would never know.
Well, it reminded me of some of the songs from Interstellar. Actually, I felt like there was a
Mm.
certain intentionality behind it that I really respected. And I love when music is created for a movie
Yeah.
because and not just adapted, like created.
Hmm.
Because I feel like there's just something very special, and I think that the art is really speaking to each other when that
Hmm.
happens.
I love an original score that
Yeah.
like really is able to work with the movie
Hmm.
and make it and like both complement each other
Yeah.
in that way.
That being
I
said, I wouldn't have minded a little rap. That would have been really cool.
right. And like it has its moments. Like I that's a really good musical moment. I'd almost forgotten. I like the song that's playing when he's passing the sirens, and I
Yeah.
only noticed the second time that they play that like musical bit again, motif
Hmm.
again when he's talking to Penelope through the screen.
I didn't notice that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, and so I was that did make me think a little bit. But other than like those two pieces of the soundtrack, I feel like a lot of it was just not particularly memorable, which kind of
Hmm.
pains me to say about my man Ludwig Göransson, but like I don't know, a lot of it was just kind of felt, I don't want to say phoned in, but
Hmm.
like fine. Just like a lot
Yeah.
of the movie was just fine.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I think that, I mean, okay, coming from myself, big Interstellar guy over here,
Yeah.
that movie set a mother freaking precedent
Oh yeah.
when it comes to soundtracks. Like that soundtrack is one of the best of the 21st century, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a movie like The Odyssey, there's so much you could do. Like
So
there's so
much.
much there. There's so much possibility, and I feel like there were certain, and this doesn't just apply to soundtracks. This applies to the whole movie. I feel like there were certain opportunities that were sort of passed up, or
Mm-hmm.
risks that he could have taken that he didn't because he
Yeah.
wanted to make a big, big
He
movie.
just wanted to make it big. He didn't
Yeah,
care about like what was the actual
yeah.
substance of it was.
And it's a shame when like in part craft is sacrificed for scale.
Yes.
That's it's a sin.
Mm-hmm. It is a sin. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the movie, he just isn't like making choices.
Hmm.
One of my friends said, um, he feels like this is basically what the Odyssey would look like if you gave pretty much any director, like, or
Hmm.
just anybody, the average person, like an unlimited budget to make an Odyssey adaptation,
Yeah,
and they just played it pretty much as safe as possible,
yeah.
while in whatever like constraints. And I don't necessarily disagree with that. It just, the
Hmm.
whole movie feels very safe. He's not really making choices or
Yeah.
taking big risks, aside from like maybe one or two of the casting decisions, but even then not really,
Hmm.
because Elliot Page is someone he's worked with before on Inception. And I don't know, like the casting is just such a non-issue. I like don't even want to talk about
Yeah, I
it.
don't. I think Ellie Page was great in
Hmm.
in his role. He was awesome. I think though the thing that really made me give it that 4.5 stars in the beginning and that kept a lot of my stars in the second time is it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Like it's a very pretty movie. Chris Nolan obviously has an eye for these big shots. I filmed in Scotland. Gotta
Oh, is
respect.
it? I
It,
didn't
it
know
is. Yeah,
that. Shout out
some of
Scotland.
it. Yeah, the parts where they're like like off the coast of an island or whatever. Like
Hmm.
that's Fife.
Oh, fire.
Um, but yeah, and the horse in the sand. That was really cool.
That was. I love a lot of the visuals of this movie.
I think the horse in the
However,
sand is. Oh,
oh, sorry. Continue.
I was gonna say I think it was iconic in a way that's gonna sort of reshape our cultural understanding of what the Trojan horse looks like
Mmm.
visually for at least several decades.
Wow.
Maybe that's a
Bold.
big statement, but
Maybe,
but
but
think about
I
it though.
kind of
Like,
respect it. I like the big statement.
yeah, like I can't say I've had a visual reference for the Trojan horse before this movie,
Like
and
Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
yeah, I guess yeah, but I think that the movie, with its faults, is I think is going to prove iconic in a
For
way.
better or worse, like, I think this is going to be a lot of people's first, maybe only real exposure to the
Hmm.
Odyssey. I'm like a fake ass English major. I still haven't read the Odyssey in its
I haven't
whole.
either.
Okay, makes me feel better.
Good.
But like, yeah, it's a good point. I like a lot of these images are going to sort of stick in the collective cultural conscious.
Hmm.
The horse, especially, I think, is going to be maybe the big one.
Yeah,
It's so striking,
it
and
is. Yeah.
it is interesting. Maybe the biggest choice Nolan does make is the recontextualization of the horse and the Trojan War as like a betrayal of uh, values and Zeus's
Yeah.
law that's so prevalent throughout the movie.
Hmm.
His sort of thesis, I guess, his thesis statement is that that moment was what led to this is one betrayal that just led to the collapse of society as a whole,
Yeah.
which makes it
It's almost like a reworking of like the apple in a
yeah,
sense.
like the Garden of Eden.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Like that's a good point. And like some people have called it like a Christianization of the Odyssey in some ways.
Ooh.
Which is interesting. It definitely is a modern retelling. Like we
Hmm.
see that through the casting, we see that through the language used. They
Yeah.
drop the fuck word a few times,
Hmm.
but and like I'm into it. I'm into the modernity of the retelling.
I liked it. I did die inside a little bit every time Tom Holland called Matt Damon
Dad.
dad. That was just not like, no, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, yeah. There were some moments. There were some moments, and I think a lot of it too is like I I don't think Christopher Nolan is great at writing dialogue,
Hmm.
and a lot of parts that could have been salvaged through like a better take, he just like settled for a take that was like good enough. Because
Yeah.
I don't think he's an actor's director.
No, yeah.
I I don't like everyone talks about how great it is to work for Nolan as an actor. I think they just
Hmm.
like how big of a name he is.
And they get a lot of independence when they work with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can kind of get that from the interviews. They're like, "Oh yeah, like he just kind of lets us like run with it, you know, like um, which for better or for worse."
Yeah. Like Holland's American accent is usually pretty good, which we'll need to talk about the accents. But like there was a moment or two where his Britishness definitely slipped through a little bit.
Yeah.
The big one that comes to mind for me is when he's talking about Mentor and he's like he could have been Athena in disguise.
Yes. Yeah. That's. Oh, I'm just like realizing that in hindsight. That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was I regarding the accents, I was not crazy about the choice to keep them American.
Yeah, which like even the British actors like Tom Holland, like Robert
Hmm.
Pattinson, like Lupita Nyong'o, they had to do American accents, and
Yeah.
so that makes it such an interesting choice rather than just letting them stay natural. And I
Yeah.
am still wondering why he would do that.
Well, I think this might sort of tie into the whole like Christianization of the Odyssey, like
Mm,
the by keeping their American accents, you sort of like pull them very harshly into the 21st century. You make them
that's you know
talk like us, look like us, act like us, you know. And I think that Chris Nolan was sort of going for like a very modern take, you know, something that
for
speaks
sure.
to us as a society today and our whole like, you know, tendency to take advantage of one another and this, that, the other.
Hmm.
And I think that that was a choice he made.
Yes,
You
that's
know, that was a
true.
big choice, and I don't know that it worked. I found it pulled me out of it. I feel like there were a lot of moments in this movie where I actively had the thought, I'm watching The Odyssey by Chris Nolan right now,
Right.
not oh my god, this is all. You know, like I wasn't like
Yeah.
in it,
This is so
and I think that it
cool.
was yeah, exactly. I think there was choices like that that pulled me out of it. You know, I think that
Hmm.
when you do old timey movies, not old timey, but like movies about really old stories that
Yeah.
take place in like Greece and Rome and whatever, you've got to give it a British accent at least.
Mm.
Like I think it just pulls
I
you out
mean,
of its
what
market.
what I kept thinking about was like performances of like Shakespeare and even
Mm-hmm.
like Julius Caesar at college. Like
Yeah.
I think like nobody cared about the casting there. Nobody cared
Mm-hmm.
about the whatever I don't even remember what accents people were doing in that. But
Probably
like
five different ones.
probably. But like it worked. I was drawn into it
Yeah.
and like I don't know. I'm just like, what is different between a college production of Julius Caesar versus this ungodly budgeted
Mm-hmm.
adaptation of the Odyssey that makes one work and the other like the suspension of disbelief, I guess, is the element that I'm talking
Yeah.
about, where
Mm-hmm.
one works and one doesn't succeed as well.
I think probably expectation plays into it, you know?
Mm,
Like,
yeah,
not only was The Odyssey a Christopher Nolan movie, like, it was really highly anticipated
very much so. Like
for
this is
years.
for better or worse. This is the movie of the summer of 2026.
Yeah.
And What does that say about the summer of 2026? I don't know.
And I think that this sort of raises a question of almost like responsibility
Mm.
as a writer director. Like you have to
He
understand
has great power.
he does, and with great power,
There must also come great
yes, of
responsibility.
course. Like we were talking before about how this movie's. You said that it's gonna probably be a lot of people's only exposure to the Odyssey, and that's important. And like, what do we owe Greek mythology as a tradition? What do we owe Homer? What do we owe you know everybody who's done an Odyssey retelling before now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's sort of missed the mark in that sense.
I would agree. I was talking to Sarah Callahan
Mhm.
about it, and she said she wishes was more. It doesn't feel like accessible in the way that
Mhm.
like something like Percy Jackson is going to get a bunch of random middle schoolers into Greek mythology. She doesn't think the Odyssey is going to really draw people in and get them engrossed in
That's a good point.
mythology. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like I would agree. Like it doesn't feel. I mean, the whole mythology of it feels almost minimized in some ways.
Mhm.
I think it's almost a fantasy movie that's slightly embarrassed to be a fantasy in the same way his Batman movies are
Yes.
embarrassed to be superhero movies. I just think Nolan
Hmm.
doesn't enjoy directing genre. He
Yeah.
he doesn't. He's not an actor's director. He's not a genre director. He's just a technical director, and that's
Yeah.
fine. But I think it's kind of crazy that he's maybe the only like he's sort of the last bastion of Hollywood directors that are a draw for the movie in
Mhm.
their name alone. Like
Yeah.
not even Spielberg and Scorsese have that power anymore. We've seen these last few years.
It's true.
Like but just the fact that the Odyssey was directed by a name as big as Christopher Nolan, it was enough to make it so wildly successful.
That is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and be like he has a responsibility because of that, I think. And that's a
Yeah.
lot of pressure, but in theory he should be up to the task.
I think your point about it being a fantasy that's embarrassed to be a fantasy is kind of interesting because and okay, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure there are no actual gods present in the movie. There's like
Yes.
Athena, but spoiler alert, um, Athena's just a manifestation of his guilt,
His guilt, yeah.
you know, and because it's the girl who was
The
beheaded and
priestess,
whatever.
yeah.
Yes, Zendaya, my queen.
Zendaya, who's getting a lot of work this year. Good for her. But
Yeah, man. And you know what? I'm just putting this out there. I've been there. Okay, I've been there since Shake It Off. All right, that is my Casey Undercover. Like that is my girl, my close
wow,
personal
so
friend
you're an
Zendaya.
OG.
Anyway,
Respect.
but yeah, I was kind of shocked by that because the gods are like such an important part of,
Mm-hmm.
and it was an interesting decision to me because it becomes almost like conscious of the mythology in general. Because like you know,
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet Poseidon wasn't just like showing up randomly to people like back in the day. Like that wasn't really a thing that
Yeah.
happened. It was like people just saying like, "Oh, you've offended Poseidon." Um, and I thought that was an interesting choice, and I actually kind of like that choice.
No, I agree. I think it's really. I actually enjoyed the decision to not physically show any of the gods,
Hmm.
but like you see their effects. Like
Yeah.
Matt Damon asks why don't the gods talk in ways we understand? And
Hmm.
that sort of again speaks to the Christianization of it maybe a little, where
Yeah.
we don't see the gods, but we see what the gods do. We see the
Hmm.
storms. We see him wash up on shore miraculously alive.
Yeah.
All one thing and another.
Yeah.
But the sun god's cattle.
Hmm.
But again, we don't even see the god. And while I liked that choice, I feel like it would have been cool if maybe during like the big crazy storm scene, which I think is one of the best in the movie,
Yeah.
we could have seen like in the clouds, lightning strikes and maybe like a silhouette of a
That
man
would
or
have been cool. Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Again, like sort of sticking to not really showing the gods,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
continuing to I don't know, just like giving a sign like, yeah, their hands are on this, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's sort of interesting though when you consider there's no confirmation of the gods, but there is magic
Yeah,
in very real
yeah,
ways. Yeah.
very much so.
Like, Cersei and
Cersei,
Calypso. Um, which, oh, we should probably talk about the Cersei
for
part
sure,
too.
100%.
That was wild. That was, oh, it's kind of disgusting.
I love the body horror, the practical
Yeah.
effects of Cersei's scene, the
Hmm.
way she's like you read it and you're not really picturing it
Hmm.
as like she's physically molding them
Yeah.
into pigs, the bones crunching and stuff. Even
Hmm.
just them eating the stew is like disgusting. You
Yeah.
know? It's like
And
in
yeah.
The Substance when you see what's his name eating, and that's
Hmm.
like grosser than most of the body horror in the movie.
Yeah, I think honestly, I would watch a Christopher Nolan horror movie because like it
And a
was
lot of people are taking that away from this.
yeah, it was done really well to me. I
Hmm.
think I don't I you and I bad English majors haven't actually read the
Yeah.
Odyssey. I was about to say the Bible, like, same thing. But I don't know that there's necessarily like um literary precedent for the whole like molding of the faces, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that was a really either a fascinating choice for them to make or something that hasn't necessarily been shown before that is maybe a
Hmm.
good part of it. And I was impressed by it. Also, I think the way that they sort of built to that was really impressive. Like you see the armor outside, you see
Hmm.
the lions. Why the hell is there a lion in Greece?
Why is he just looking at him?
Right? And you see like they start eating and then like they can't stop and you're like, well, what's going on? Like what,
Yeah.
it just it draws you in this like really delicious way. I love it.
Oh, I like delicious for it. That's good. And like, yeah, and a part of it, I think the tension is so well built up. Matt Damon hunting the deer, shoots it, and it's a
Hmm.
dude.
Yeah, that
Um,
was so good.
but my one gripe with the scene is like I don't know how I feel about the lady who played Cersei. I
Oh,
think
okay.
I could tell she's like a good actor, but again, I just don't think Nolan is an actor's director. I think a lot they kept settling for kind of terrible takes of her
Hmm.
dialogue, and maybe her dialogue was supposed to be weird and stilted. Maybe
Hmm.
it was supposed to be like, oh, something's she's not she's talking weird. Something's up
Hmm.
with her. But there are times when it's just like, why don't you come over here? It
Yeah.
doesn't. Again, it's just him settling for a mediocre take
Hmm.
when one or two, and it just takes me out of it. I'm like, is that really the best one you could have settled with?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And I don't know. The
Um,
first time I watched it, the t- uh, dialogue readings didn't stick out to me, but the second time it did a little more.
that was my experience exactly. That's why it went down a full star. Because the dialogue is just subpar.
Mm,
And the whole first third is sort of very exposition dumpy. Um, like, okay, the example coming to mind right now is the pin, the Athena pin, right?
yeah,
I think it could have been a really nice like setup and payoff where like she gives
for
him the
sure.
pin
Yeah.
and then you don't say anything about it and then they're like, oh, she has this way of knowing, whatever.
Hmm.
But instead, she says in the very beginning, I'll ask people if you're wearing the pin and I'll know if they've actually seen. I'm
Hmm.
like, come on.
It's this need to spell absolutely everything out that is plaguing movies
Hmm.
today.
And I love Interstellar. That's a fault that Interstellar has as well. I think
Hmm.
it's a fault that a lot of modern writers have because a lot of movies are built for people on their iPhones these days.
Yeah.
And like in Interstellar, the whole like, oh well, what if the real magic or the real power or whatever is love, and like
Love.
and I'm like, oh come on, like no
Really?
way. But Interstellar, I think the rest of it saves it, but that part is rough.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It, yeah, the one of the best ways I've seen it described somewhere, I can't remember where, was like a lot of Nolan movies are about people who are geniuses in some regards, but have no idea how to talk about human emotions,
Mm-hmm.
having human emotions. And I think that works for something like Interstellar.
Yeah.
But for the Odyssey, a lot of it didn't really hit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think that it was kind of evident that Nolan didn't really trust the audiences to make the conceptual leaps, which maybe he was right not to. But I think it
Yeah.
could have. I think it could have stood a bit of mystery.
Yes.
Um, and I
Some
think that
mystery,
you,
some
yeah,
risks taken.
definitely. And I think that he's a good show don't tell director, but I think he doesn't trust it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, because like there were so many times where the someone would say like, oh, there was a storm, and then it would cut to the storm and you'd see the storm as opposed to
Yeah.
listening to someone talk about it. And I really liked those moments, and I thought that it was really encapsulating, and then it worked. But then after the storm, someone would explain what we just saw, and that was
Yeah.
like what really ruined the magic.
It does. It does. It totally takes you out of it. You can't just like have something happen and then put pieces together yourself. You don't really put any of the pieces together yourself in this movie. They're all put together for you,
Mm-hmm.
wrapped up, tied in a nice little bow, spoon fed.
Yeah.
It's a little frustrating,
And
TBH.
I think that that's something that people are missing these days. Like there's something special about an Interstellar, a Memento, a Mulholland Drive, like
Mm-hmm.
something that people sort of have to like crack. It's
Yeah.
interactive. It's a way
Yeah.
in a way that makes you want to go back and see it again, and again and again and again. And that's just sort of missing from a lot of modern movies.
I would agree, and it's a shame. And I do think people are starting to wise up. There's starting to be backlash
Mm-hmm.
against that sort of pattern. People are getting pissed off at Netflix, especially. They're maybe the worst offenders.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I do hope that turns around soon. And I think it's kind of a shame that happened with the Odyssey. But what can you
Mm-hmm.
do?
Yeah. I would like to see Chris Nolan maybe work with a writer.
Yeah, I think he needs to stop writing his own scripts, or he needs to
Mhm.
work with his brother Jonathan again. I
His ideas are fantastic.
Yes, he's a good ideas man.
Mhm.
He just needs to, please God, get someone else on dialogue. I'm begging you.
Yeah. I saw someone say that he should stop doing adaptations because his original
Mm,
movies are more interesting. And I think there's truth to that.
I would agree. I would agree. Like, I think I'd like him to go back to more tighter, intimate stories. And I know he
Hmm.
loves his scale, his big, blown up whatever. But I think a horror movie would be good for him to do and just like sit in a little bit of smallness for a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe in the same movie he can build up the smallness so the bigger stuff feels bigger.
Hmm.
Because when everything has scale, nothing does, you know?
That's a good point.
Like, who was I talking to? I think it was Catherine that was saying, like, the Cyclops, it was impressive.
Hmm.
And, like, you can definitely feel a lot of its impact when you're watching it in the theater. I love the sounds it makes, how
Hmm.
loud they are. You can feel the vibrations in your seat.
Yeah.
The roar after it gets his eye poked out, terrifying.
Yeah.
And the animatronic is really impressive, but it just doesn't feel as weighty as maybe it should
Hmm.
to me.
Because that's the smallest sort of set or scene in a lot of the movie. It's one of the smallest,
Yeah.
which
It's
is
like
wild
for the
because it's a
most part one
Cyclops.
location.
Yeah.
And that should be really cool. It should feel so tense and scary. And it's like a little creepy, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I don't know, if you just built it up a little bit better, sat with the atmosphere some, it
Hmm.
could have been really creepy.
Yeah.
And to some people it was, and no
Hmm.
hate. But
Yeah, that's one of those things that I was impressed by the first time, and then when I started like interrogating it the second time,
yeah,
it just kind of missed the mark.
I would agree. Do you think that he was right to exclude the maybe his most infamous exclusion in
No,
this is the
no,
nobody.
nobody. It had to be there. It had to be there. It was I think okay, the what the nobody thing like shows about Odysseus, I think was still there, you know, the whole like
Yeah,
he gets out of these scrapes not through brute force but through trickery and
cunning. Yeah.
yeah, cunning. That's a good word. And I think that was demonstrated through the whole like hay on the back or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think it worked in that regard, but I think the nobody thing is more cunning, and maybe it's less exciting. You know, it's a
Mm-hmm.
conversation as
And what
opposed
what it
to
also demonstrates is that he's kind of an asshole, because like when he's
yeah,
escaping, he tells him his real name, and that's
mm,
how he knows to tell Poseidon, like, screw this guy over. And like Odysseus should be kind of a dick, and we
hmm
don't really get that from this. It's
hmm
he's sort of whitewashed as a hero.
definitely. I think another thing that I actually was speaking to Charlotte about a couple weeks ago when I saw it for the first time is he like there's not honestly that much character development
Yeah.
in Odysseus. Like he's just kind of like the same person all the way through. And like I guess you could say that like he became sort of like a bleeding heart after Troy. Like he feels like this immense amount of guilt and weight and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he's the same. Like he still has the same values and priorities as he does at the beginning of the movie. Even though he undergoes all these horrifically traumatic events.
Yeah.
Um, and I was just kind of like a
Like, what is his
little,
arc?
yeah. And like it's an odyssey. Like you have to have an internal odyssey to have an external odyssey.
I like that.
It it doesn't work without its emotional core.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
just and I mean Matt Damon's just so charming. Like he's not a
Yeah.
dick.
And the thing is, like, I see him, and I keep calling him Matt Damon, because I really don't see Odysseus. I see Matt Damon. I'm like
Yeah.
half expecting him to go, yeah, like, I don't know, you like them apples? How you like
Mhm.
them apples? I got a number. You know, just
Yeah,
like go
exactly.
whole Goodwill Hunting rant. Like, he's just Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Matt Damon.
I think that there's something to be said about working with A-listers also sort of pulls you out of it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, because like this
Yeah.
movie is stacked, and that was a lot of the draw. Like a lot of people went to see, like you know, if you don't care about Chris Nolan, maybe you care about Anne Hathaway, and so you're
Anne
going to see the
Hathaway.
movie.
Maybe you care about Matt
Zendaya,
Damon,
Tom Holland.
Zendaya, Tom
There's so many
Holland.
freaking people,
So many names.
but that you
John
know we're
Leguizamo's like small
yeah.
fan base.
I think that you know your point about calling him Matt Damon is exactly right. Like people are forgetting that this is the Odyssey and not a Christopher Nolan movie about Matt Damon.
Mm-hmm. Matt Damon tries to get home yet again.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, it's yeah, and I think that's something that's been a problem with Hollywood even longer than this spoon feeding issue has,
mhm.
where like they just can't cast small or even unknown actors because
Yeah.
unfortunately, like, the truth is small and unknown actors aren't box office draws.
Yeah.
Box office draws are faces people know and like and recognize.
hmm
And but for whatever reason, Nolan can't just do a few of those names. He has to do everyone is famous.
Yeah.
I mean,
And now
Tom
to be fair,
Holland,
like he can.
he can, and like
Yeah.
it's good, it's fine, it's whatever. But it's so interesting to make the Odyssey like almost an ensemble piece.
Yeah. Yeah, that was another thing that I found quite interesting is that it was equally about Odysseus and
Telemachus.
Telemachus and Penelope. Like it was about everyone, and I think that that could have worked very well. But
Yes.
I think in reality, it just sort of like stunted the emotional arcs of all three.
I would agree.
Um, I think Telemachus had the most compelling story because I think he underwent the most change. But
Hmm.
even then, it's a small amount of change.
It was, yeah.
He just stands a bit straighter. Like that's really the thing, you
I
know?
know my dad. My dad's home.
Like stop. Like stop. Like don't do this to me.
Yeah, I would agree. Tom Holland's part was probably the one that worked the most for me.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know how much. Like, it's interesting how much they leaned into the Tom Holland John Bernthal friendship
Yeah.
in the marketing, and I'm sure a lot of that was due to Spider-Man's
Hmm.
also having the same friendship. Um, but I don't know how much I bought that relationship
Hmm.
beyond the natural chemistry those two actors have.
Yeah, I couldn't really get a read on John Bernthal's character. I knew he obviously cared about Telemachus and he was like friends with Odysseus and whatever, but like he was kind of an asshole, but like
I
not
mean,
really.
he's another guy that's like he's just John Bernthal.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Let me tell you something about Odysseus.
Yeah, yeah. It's just yeah, there were a lot of choices that um pulled me out of it in a way that I couldn't really buy anything in the movie,
Right.
which is a shame.
It is a shame, and because I don't know, we've like there's a lot to like about it, but
Hmm.
for everything there is to like about it, there's also a lot that could have been better.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
I really this might be my favorite, the best performance I've seen John Leguizamo have.
Hmm.
He's one of the people that was actually like very consistently good throughout the movie. I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
for sure.
surprised if he got a supporting actor nom.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure this is going to get a lot of nominations. I kind of hope it doesn't win anything for acting aside from maybe John Legg.
Yeah.
Like if it gets deserves anything, it's gonna be like design, production
Yeah.
design.
Hmm.
But I thought Robert Pattinson, another one of these actors that's very prolific as of late,
Hmm.
I really enjoyed seeing him here. He's very deliciously slimy.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't know, but were one or two moments like before you find really like it's really cemented. Oh, he's just like the worst. Where
Yeah.
I'm like, I almost wondered if he had a little more dimension to him,
Hmm.
where he's like just pretending to be a dick so that he can marry Penelope because maybe he thinks everyone else would be corrupt or bad to Penelope, and he knows he's the least worst option, so he's
Hmm.
just making himself the bad guy so
Yeah.
no one else does. Like this, I think one of the big ones was this one moment where he's taking the dog outside after some of the other suitors are kicking it, and he's like, "I'll put it in the shit heap with everything else," and he says it like in a sort of snarky, jeering way, but he's not smiling at all. There's this like grim look on his face, almost like he's doing what he has to
Yeah.
do.
Interesting.
And I don't know if I would have liked him more if he had that extra dimension to him, or if I like it more as is, where he's just like a love to hate sort of
Yeah.
asshole who I think does have a satisfying death, but I don't know if it's as satisfying as it could have been, like a
Hmm.
lot of the third act. I think it's a great
Yeah.
moment. I return your shame, whatever.
Yeah. I think that's a really interesting point. My sister and I discussed how he does kind of exist in that like in between where like you can't tell if he's like a good guy pretending to be a bad guy or if he's just like a terrible person.
Yeah.
Um, I think the thing that I got out of his whole story the second time, not the first, I didn't get it the first, but the second time, I was under the impression the first time that he did genuinely like try to
Try.
volunteer for the
Yeah.
war or whatever.
I feel
And
like
then
they
the
don't
second time
make
I
it clear
realized like
enough. They don't like.
I agree. He's just a coward.
Yeah, and that's like the
Yeah,
issue
I
with
didn't
the
get it.
first, like a lot of the first part where, and like again, that could have been an extra dimension. Like he's aware of his cowardice, so he's trying to make up for it by protecting
Hmm.
Penelope, protecting Telemachus.
Yeah.
But instead, it's just he's a coward.
Hmm.
He's just the worst.
Yeah. I
And
think I'm very much like a less is more kind of guy when it comes to media in general, but
yes, of
specifically
course.
film. And I think that in a different movie, that storyline would have been like very, very well done. Like the whole subtlety of it all. But
Yes.
I think because everything else is handed to you on just a silver platter, like it's just given to you, you can't pick up on that
Hmm.
story because you're not expecting any sort of subtlety or whatever.
Right. No, that's a good
Yeah.
point. If nothing else is set up for subtlety, why should this one thing be,
Yeah,
you know? But overall, I think he's very enjoyable and fun to watch in this.
I
Like,
agree. Yes.
and like you can tell how talented he is. He has his moments. Somebody get these beggars out of here. And like he has this thing I've noticed where he does a lot of really rapid blinks after that. And you
Yeah.
know in that moment like all this confidence is very fake and
Mm.
very just he's a sniveling little rodent
Yeah.
underneath it all. I love
Yeah.
it. I always laugh in the ending when the weapons are being thrown from the ceiling and
He's like,
he's
get him, get
calling
him,
them
get him.
out. Shields! Spears!
That part is good. That
It's
part
like
is good.
fighting the Riddler in a Batman game. Like he's just telling his goons to go beat you up, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think Robert Pattinson did a great job. He
At least
was
with what he was given.
fantastic. Well, yeah, yeah. I think a lot of my issues with the movie just comes down to writing.
Yeah.
I was unimpressed with the writing of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Which,
would agree. I do think he needs to get someone else, at least in the writer's room,
yeah,
please.
yeah.
But
We should tell him. We'll send him an
we
email.
should, yeah,
Yeah.
put me in there. I got it. Trust.
And I think there have been historically many good partnerships between a prolific director and a prolific writer. You
Yeah,
know, you don't have to
definitely.
do it all. It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. You're okay, champ. We have
Yeah.
not talked about Agamemnon at all,
Ooh,
and I
okay.
think we should talk about Agamemnon. I
I
think
think, yeah.
he's kind of awesome. I kind of love that his entire character is like aura and hype moments.
Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of the point. Like
Hmm.
there is nothing of substance behind the aura and hype moments.
Yeah.
He you never see his face.
Mm-mm.
You never there are like a couple lines of dialogue he has only when he's in Hades.
Hmm.
And I think a large part of it is to preserve his mystique, but a large part of it is also just because it's Benny Safdie. Because the second he opens his mouth, you're like, oh, he's just a dude. He's just Benny
Yeah.
Safdie. If you saw his face, I don't think you'd be able to take him seriously.
No,
Because
yeah.
Benny Safdie is just kind of a silly looking guy. No
Yeah.
hate. I love Benny. I think he's made some great movies. I
I will
love
say
Good Time.
I was shocked when I like looked up who played Agamemnon. I was like, that guy?
Yeah.
He was under the mask? Okay. No, he's just so badass. Like,
Opening the gates, he's just standing there.
yes, it's so good. And then everyone like rushes for and he's just walking.
Yeah.
So good. It's so good. Um, I think the dynamic between him and Odysseus is really interesting. Like, because like every time Odysseus sees Agamemnon, he greets him by kneeling,
Yeah.
and like that's really interesting because it's I think it's easy to sort of play up Odysseus in general, you know, not just in this movie, but in as the character as like this like great guy, king of Ithaca, you know, like big,
Yeah.
important. And then no,
He
there's
drops
Agamemnon,
everything in front of Agamemnon.
which he dropped his whole life for Agamemnon,
Oh yeah.
you know, and I think everyone did, you know, to fight his 10 years long war.
And it's so interesting. Again, another thing they sort of recontextualize. I don't know if this was the case in the Iliad, but when he says the war is just his excuse to take Troy's control of the trade routes, sort of adding to the commentary, anti-war commentary throughout the movie.
Yeah.
That like Nolan makes what I'm fairly certain isn't a very anti-war poem into a pretty anti-war story.
Yeah, it's pretty pro-war, I would say, first time around.
Like he turns Odysseus from look at this badass clever plan I did to beat the Trojans to what have I done?
Yeah.
Almost an Oppenheimer-esque like what have I wrought on the world?
I think it's interesting and a really cool take. It just didn't pay off for me.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. I think that the anti-war commentary was a little I don't
On
want
the
to say
nose.
yeah, yeah, because it's just like that's public opinion these
Yeah.
days. You know, like yeah, every war is about oil. Like of course, you
Yeah.
know, it's about trading routes, whatever.
It's another thing that's just really safe. Like what's he actually saying?
Yeah, like there's nothing dangerous about that take. And I think art, especially art at that scale, when you know it's going to reach this many people, like why bother? if it's not going to be a little dangerous.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good point. I like that.
Yeah, like if you want to make a money grab movie, work for Netflix.
Tell Christopher Nolan to work for Netflix. I think he might shoot you.
I'm sorry, wait, we can cut that out, right? Sorry. But yeah, and I think that just goes back to the writing. Like there was no real mission with this movie, which
He's just doing things because it's cool to do. Again, he's doing the Odyssey just because it's the Odyssey. It's I don't know. He's doing things to do them.
yeah. I've heard that he actually was signed on to do a different Odyssey movie
Really.
a while ago, and I can't remember for the life of me remember which one, but he was supposed to direct some other Odyssey movie that, was passed off someone else.
Would it
And
have been
he
Troy?
maybe that sounds right.
Yeah.
But he had the image of the horse
The
like half,
Trojan horse.
yeah, like half in the sand, and he
Yeah.
sort of preserved that and brought it over to this project, which yeah.
It is. I was talking with Catherine about it, and she said that she almost feels like he would have, with all the anti-war stuff, it would have been better if he'd just made a Trojan War movie, an Iliad movie, than an Odyssey one. And maybe it would have, but I guess that's just not what he wanted to tell.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
how that would have turned out, because I think that's an interesting point, like with all the focus on and the Trojan War scenes are some of the best in the movie, I think. The sacking of Troy
Yeah.
is crazy, and I love how well done it is.
Yes.
At the same time, and I have this issue for most of the movie, like, there are some really good, beautiful shots here and there, but I feel like we don't really get the time to sit with them. If when a shot looks cool, we don't get the chance to let it sink in. It cuts really fast to something else. I think
Yeah.
the biggest one for me was when the city's burning down and Matt Damon's in the foreground and like a tower collapses behind him. It's on
Yeah.
fire. And like that happens and we're immediately cutting to more action
Yeah.
instead of just like being able to stare at this horrifying event for a little bit, you know?
I would have liked one of those like classic war like long shots where it's just he's
Yeah.
just walking around in this like decay and destruction and like he's killing people, other people are killing him, like I would have loved something like that.
Oh, that would have been so good. And
Yeah.
that might be another, like, a limitation with IMAX, where I think he could only
Yeah.
shoot for, 3 minutes at a time?
Oh, I
10
didn't know
minutes?
that.
It is something fairly short.
Like one shot and then you could immediately do another one, or like 3 minutes and then you had to wait an hour. Like how did that work?
Like, before you have to replace the reel of
Oh,
film
okay.
that's, like, in the camera. It was probably more than 3 minutes. I'd have to look it up. But, like, it was something ridiculous. They had to do so much just to make that work. IMAX cameras are so loud. They had to,
Yeah.
like, build a new rig to make it
Right.
quiet for the close-up scenes. Which is impressive, but also, like, why? You know, like, I'm sure he only wanted to do it because no one has ever done it before.
And I wonder now if that's going to be like just a fun trivia thing that happened for this movie, or if that's actually going to be sort of a
Like, people start to do
cinematography
this.
development. Yeah, and like the camera's going to get quieter because people are going to be innovating.
I mean, it makes it so much more difficult for no reason.
Yeah, and okay, correct me if I'm wrong. It didn't change that much visually.
I mean, especially when there are only like so many theaters in the country that
Yeah.
can play, which is again is so ridiculous. It's almost elitist. Like the limited number of theaters that can play it in the format it's intended to be seen in. I had to go all the way to DC on Wednesday to watch it in 70 millimeter.
Yeah, I had to go to King of Prussia.
It's like it's hard. It's hard. And it's a shame that like the majority of people are going to see this with like parts cut off of the top and bottom, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It's like something like 30% of the movie is cut out, which is wild.
It's so crazy.
I was impressed by the screen when I saw it,
Oh, yeah.
like when they started playing it was just like, whoa.
Like it's like wow, you know?
But it didn't 100% change my understanding of the story or anything like that.
Yeah, I would agree. Like my watching it on film was cool. I think it made a lot of the visuals better. It was my first time ever seeing something on physical film. and I
Yeah.
like that you can see all the scratches and dust and whatever.
Mhm.
There's a tactility to it that I like, but like it doesn't change anything fundamentally about the movie. My second time watching it sort of cemented my opinions. What I liked, I continued to dislike. What I
Yeah.
liked, I continued to like. What I disliked, I continued to dislike.
Hmm.
And not really any more or less. I think it's a very solid. I'm like 4-star movie for me.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.5.
Yeah. I know this is not, this is obviously an episode about the Odyssey, but I just saw Can't Miasma two
Yeah.
times. And that's a movie
Wow.
where I don't think it was filmed on film. I'm almost 100% certain it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But it pays a lot of attention to like making the movie look like it was. There's that sort of like
Mm.
grainy aspect that they, I guess, did in post or whatever. And there are certain times, like sometimes, like there'd be like a twig snap in the distance, and then like it would look like the film kind of glitched, and you'd have like two or
Ooh.
three frames where like it would be like half her head up here and the top
Sort of
half
like a
down here.
grimy, like grindhouse cinema type.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that that is like a totally different approach to the same sort of love for film.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was just a tangent, but
No, no, I see what you're saying. Like when something like that has so much love put into it,
mhm,
even if it's not actually using film,
yeah,
it's like it it has an aesthetic purpose and a
mhm.
reason, choices made
It
behind it.
affects the story. It depends.
It
The story
affects the story.
hinges on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it and like it reminds me of the holdovers episode
Yeah.
featuring Maggie Lancaster. Um, that was shot entirely on digital, and they went
Mhm.
through so much pain to make it look like it was shot in the 70s on film,
Yeah.
adding grain and scratches and whatever to
Hmm.
just make it feel real, and it had an artistic reason behind it. Whereas the
Yeah.
Odyssey, again, the reason is it would be cool.
And I think that is the difference between like an artist, like someone who really is dedicated, and a historian almost,
Hmm?
and a purist. Because
Mm.
at what point does the actual craft become sacrificed just because you get to say, I shot this on film, I shot this on IMAX?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's a lot.
big questions.
Big
And
questions.
this feels like sacrilegious,
I
this whole
know, I
thing.
know. Like when they dissing your goat, but they low key right.
Exactly. Ugh.
We
Yeah.
being they, unfortunately.
Yeah. Ooh.
But
Sorry,
like, I still
Chris.
love Nolan. I'm still gonna
Yeah.
watch whatever he does.
Yeah.
I just want him to be better.
And I'm excited for whatever comes next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rumor is it's gonna be a horror movie. We'll
Really?
see. That might just be people hoping it's a horror movie,
Well,
but
I mean, he's proven he's got the chops
he's
for
got
it.
the chops.
Yeah. That's really fascinating. I hope it's an original. I hope it's not
Me too.
some sort of adaptation again. I think he can do a lot with that genre.
Definitely. Definitely. Horror is, ever since I discovered it, has become one of my favorite genres just for how like versatile it is
Hmm.
and how many things you can do with it.
Yeah.
Silly, serious, like commentary, just rule of cool.
Hmm.
He could do something really solid.
Yeah.
If he just can get a little bit out of his own ass, a teeny weeny bit.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry. I'm
No, no.
sorry.
He understands. Don't worry. Ugh.
My second time watching, I brought this like tiny little notebook.
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh.
and there were like points where my pen, like the ink wasn't working, so I was like freaking out. And like just it was dark, so I couldn't see what I was writing, so I was just hoping that it was legible. And most of it kind of is.
That's like so
Um,
Tucker Theater to me. I would do that all the time.
but like we've covered a lot of what I wrote down.
Catching.
It starts with text. It starts with like
It
it opens with I think
does.
a
That's
time of
right.
apparent magic is what I think it
Yes.
said.
That was interesting to me the
What do you
second
make
time.
of
Yeah.
that?
I I think that maybe sort of ties back to the whole like they don't show the gods, but they do show the magic.
Yeah.
I think there's a big question here about what's real and what's perceived, like what's
Mm,
actually magic, what's actually paranormal versus what's sort of man-made, like what's our mythology. So the apparent is really interesting to me,
Yeah.
but I don't necessarily know what it means.
Yeah. Yeah. I like surely it's got to be something about like it. I guess it's magic.
Hmm.
I don't know,
There is
but like
legitimate magic there though. Like
yes,
there's
very like non
yeah.
unambiguously magical elements.
Hmm.
Cersei, the Cyclops, uh,
The lotus flower,
Scylla,
yeah.
Lotus Flower,
Yeah.
Scylla, Scylla, Skyla. I don't fucking. They don't even pronounce like the same character's name
Right,
the same way
the whole movie,
two
yeah.
times. Like one guy will say Odysseus, one will say Odysseus.
Oh my god.
It's
I think they
whatever.
should have all had Scottish accents.
That would have been freaking awesome, and nobody would have understood a word they were saying.
But then it's also sort of like a take on the Scottish play, you see. That's funny. Was there anything else that we missed?
Oh, what did you make of the Agamemnon's helmet? Like the gold spine on
I
the
really
back of it.
liked it.
It's
I thought it
so
was
badass.
fantastic.
They
Yeah.
were selling him as a Fortnite skin for a little bit. I almost bought
Really?
him,
You
but
should
I
have.
should have.
He's just so tough. His
I
aura is insane.
My favorite take on that I've seen was that like he shows this gold spine because he doesn't actually have a spine. All he has
Damn.
are like all he has is aura and hype moments, you know? He
Yeah. Yeah.
he just does like he sacrifices his daughter to
Mm-hmm.
the sea.
That was rough.
That was so rough. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's like there's a lot of the backstory that I don't know about, I guess, the Trojan War, because I think that's more like Iliad stuff. Um, and I think it's generally accurate. Now that's my
Accurate
understanding of it.
enough.
So,
Yeah, right.
yeah. So it was really cool to see that. I'm glad they did include that, I think. However, like we were saying before, it was a bit too like Ellie in certain points. Um, yeah.
Yeah. That does remind me. I liked the look of the Hades scene a lot.
Hmm.
Like it's very bleak and dark and
Yeah.
creepy. But the thing is, the whole movie looks kind of bleak and dark, and I feel like that bleakness isn't as effective when the whole movie, like the colors are just so muted and
Yeah.
like it could have been so colorful and cool
Hmm.
and
Hmm. Hmm.
neat to look at, but for the
Yeah.
most part, it was kind of, I hesitate to say dull.
Hmm.
The water definitely looks better on film,
Yeah.
but
That's true. Yeah, I think that the Hades scene, like, if you had stepped out to go to the bathroom and missed the context, you would just think it was nighttime.
yeah.
Like
And
it
like Loki,
was,
I'd zoned out the first time, so I almost did
yeah,
think it was just like whatever.
yeah. Um, yeah, that's a good point. I think there a lot of the impressiveness of the movie comes from scale, like these giant shots of like coast in Scotland, whatever, like the battles or whatever. And like even the battles, like there's fire. They somehow made fire look a little dull.
Yes, yes.
And I
Oh my
was,
gosh,
yeah,
it's frustrating.
it is frustrating. Yeah, for sure.
I I like I am not 100% sure how I feel about the what are they called? The Lystragonians, the giants.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's cool. I like how they used really tall people and really short people to shoot it
Hmm.
practically. I like the silver armor,
Hmm.
and I think it's a really cool looking scene, well
I
shot.
agree.
But the first time I saw it, I didn't really catch that the trees were moving around. The second
Yeah.
time I caught it, and
Hmm.
like that's awesome. It's
Hmm.
badass. They had them on little spinning motors around.
That's cool.
But it's so sick to look at.
Yeah.
It's another thing I just wish he'd shot a little bit more, like in a way where you can tell what's going
Hmm.
on. I think the reason I didn't catch it the first time was because I was seeing it in 4D, which
Yeah.
was
A lot
fucking
going on.
awesome. My seat was shaking everywhere. I'll have a little tangent about that later, but Like, because my sea was shaking everywhere, I couldn't really focus on the trees moving. I just knew I
Yeah.
was moving.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know what to make of, like, the snow or the child who starts laughing and then
Yeah.
screaming.
That's one of those things that I'm not entirely sure
Like, was it just
what
being
it
weird to
added.
be weird?
Yeah.
Did it really add anything other than, like, he
Hmm.
lost one or two of his ships
Out of three, that's kind of a bit
out of
much.
three? Yeah.
I think that it was. I was thinking this earlier. It was just one of those things that I think they needed to get rid of two ships,
Hmm.
and so they're
Yeah.
like, "Ah, we'll just do that," you know. Um, and that was kind of disappointing. Like you could have had the Cyclops take those ships out, you know, if you really
Yeah.
needed them, and maybe that wouldn't have been book accurate. But neither is the exclusion of the nobody thing, you know. Clearly,
Yeah.
there were liberties being taken here.
Yeah. No, and there's a lot of, like, book accuracy removed. What someone said, it might have been Catherine, it might have been Sarah, it might have been both, for saying that Calypso, like, they place a lot of the blame for Odysseus staying on that island on Calypso when, like, he wants to stay on the island
Yeah.
in the poem. And it's another case of them removing his dickishness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they sort of allude to it. He goes, "Maybe I don't want to leave,"
Mm-hmm.
but it's not really
Yeah.
explicit enough for my taste. Where they're like, "Yeah, he's just being a bitch," you know?
And even then, I remember when he said, maybe I don't want to leave, that felt so out of character
Mm-hmm.
for him because up to that point, it was all about getting back to Penelope.
Yeah, it doesn't follow with everything else he's done.
Hmm. I also thought it was sort of interesting that I guess, like the present timeline
Mm.
is him on the island.
Yeah.
Like that's what they open with, and that's what they return to after the whole Odyssey. And there's like chopped like up bits of it in between, and so it's
Mm-hmm.
sort of like him telling Calypso about it. And I was just like, I think it worked, but
Yeah.
like it was sort of like
It's
weird.
a
Like
little weird.
I had to
Like, you
reorient
really
myself
have to
after.
lock
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
Yeah, I do. There's, it's that, like, weird structure. Like, on one hand, I think it does feel like Nolan just doing a weird structure because he's obsessed with weird structures.
hmm,
On the other, I almost feel like he's telling this as well as he narratively structurally could have. As
yeah,
because if you just told all the Calypso scenes chronologically
hmm,
in one segment, it would have been so boring.
yeah.
So splicing them throughout, I think, is a good idea.
What I think I would have liked to see, and what could have sort of saved the character arc, is like him, you know, sort of retaining that poem accurate, uh, not wanting to leave in the
Mm.
beginning, and then like as he's revealing all these stories as he's remembering and like he's discussing it with Calypso, you slowly see him be more like, no, I gotta go back. I gotta go back. You
Yeah.
know, like, um, I think, but instead it's just, he just remembers.
Hmm.
And then it's, yeah.
If Nolan, like, had any balls, he would have included. This is gonna sound so bad. If he had any balls, he would have included, like, an Odysseus Calypso, like, sex scene, and have
Yeah,
Odysseus be, like, in the middle of his sex scene, like, flashing back to Penelope or something, like, crazy like that.
that would have been wild. That would have been good.
That was off the dome. That I just had a better idea than Nolan had the entire. I'm tooting my own horn. I apologize.
Quoting you on that. Yeah, I think that that's one of those things where it's like it was done safely. Like I think a relationship between Calypso and Odysseus was alluded to, hinted at,
Yeah.
but it wasn't actualized, and that is something that does. And Cersei too. Like he sleeps with both of them, and so I saw like some interview where they were like asking the cast, was Odysseus faithful to Penelope, and Anne Hathaway was like, oh well, like not in our sense, but like emotionally he was. And I'm like, there's no film sort of justification for that take because like all we see is that he's completely like he might as well be a virgin for or not a virgin but like not have sex for 20 years
Yeah.
as far as we know. But I think you're right that he just needed to do more bad things, I think, in order
Hmm.
to justify his development.
His guilt. Yeah.
All he did was
Development.
like kill people, I guess, which is
Hmm.
like fine, like whatever.
And he got his crew killed, but they, according to the blind prophet, they were destined to die anyway. So
And they
like,
were dicks.
and they were
And
dicks.
they were assholes,
I'm
so.
going. Don't eat the sun god's cattle.
Mm-mm.
I'm going to eat the sun god's cattle today. I was trying to take note of when Zendaya made appearances
Mm-hmm.
in this. I think her first, the first time we see her is, I think the first time we see Matt Damon, when he's just like wandering on the island.
Yeah.
It's just like him surrounded by desert. It's actually a really good shot.
It is, yeah.
And she's just, what is, I don't even remember the conversation. It might have been one of those, why don't the gods talk in ways we understand?
I think it
Who
was
doesn't
that one, yeah.
understand fire? Whatever type exchanges. And
Mhm.
it's interesting. I don't know. I like the idea of her being Athena, but I also like the idea of her just being a manifestation of guilt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I think I've settled more on she's probably just in his
Mm-hmm.
head. But I think her first chronological appearance, if I can find it, I think that was after the Giants, after a lot of his men got
Yeah.
killed on the island,
Yeah.
and they just look at each other, and he's feeling guilty, so he
Mm-hmm.
sees the manifestation of his guilt, and it's him looking at what he's done, and I don't know. I think maybe the point of that scene and so many of these other scenes are that like they come on to these lands expecting hospitality, Zeus's law,
Mm-hmm.
but they broke Zeus's law, so now they're dealing with the consequences of no one following Zeus's law.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why Zendaya appears, because maybe it's his fault that no one's following the rules
Yeah.
anymore.
I think the nature of her appearances justifies the interpretation that she's more of a manifestation of his guilt than an
Yeah,
actual goddess. Because she does show up when he's confronting his guilt,
right,
largely.
for sure.
Um, and I think, though, I guess going back to the apparent magic thing, like maybe it's plausible that, like, I don't know, the gods are punishing him besides punishing him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, the gods are showing him
Mm-hmm.
this girl, whatever. Um, but I think I liked the Athena thing.
Yes.
I did. I think that that was a cool way of like making physical his guilt and trauma. I just don't know that it led to like an arc of any sort.
I
Like,
know, that's the issue. There's no real arc. There's no
mhm.
development. It just it's point A to point B
Yeah.
over a 3 hour period.
I think it's more so like he's living with this guilt now, you know? Like we
Yeah.
see I think the last time she appears is when he's talking to Penelope for the first time, right?
Yes. Yes.
And at least chronologically. And I think that maybe the whole thing is like an explanation of how we got here, which kind of like saves it a little bit. But even then, like he's not a different person.
No.
He's really not.
He's the same Odysseus. He didn't have a chance to stop being a dick because he was never really a dick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that was a bit of a fault.
He's like, it's for all intents and purposes, Odysseus is a superhero in this movie.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, the bow and all that, whatever, and I think that's cool. That could work. And they definitely do build him up as, like, a legend, but,
Mhm.
like, superheroes should still have development and be able
Yeah.
to go through some sort of change by the end of
Hmm.
their story.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Odysseus had anything, like, that substantial.
No, and it's such a shame because it could have been done so easily.
Yes.
You know, like if some of like the original like Ithaca scenes with Anne Hathaway were just more so him being like, no, yeah, I'm gonna go fight a war. Like, of course I am, or like him being an asshole to somebody, like, or just generally not caring about other people, and then by the end he is who he is. By the end, like it could have been salvaged, but no.
But no,
Mm.
such a shame.
Yeah,
But I liked it. I
I
liked,
did.
like,
Yeah,
for all its flaws, I can't bring myself to dislike the movie.
me too. I would go see it again. Like, it's yeah, it's just like
It's long.
cool. Yeah,
It's cool.
yeah.
And but it could have been cooler, you know?
It could have been cooler. It could have been cooler. It like there was no like I'm getting choked up moment for me. Like there are
Hmm.
definitely heartwarming moments, but like nothing that I felt personally emotionally attached to enough where I felt an emotional investment in it. And
Yeah.
I felt like I'm feeling the feeling you're feeling.
I
Didn't
will
happen.
say the first time I watched, I I'd forgotten how the Odyssey was actually supposed to end. So the first time I watched, I didn't realize how I was more invested than I thought I was, because I was like really hoping Odysseus would survive.
Hmm.
I was very much hoping like he wouldn't go through all that just to die at the end.
Me too, actually. Yeah.
And I was very, very happy when he didn't die. But again, like they have heartwarmingness, but nothing like choking up.
Yeah.
But that did. I think there is something to be said about how what that did for my investment. Of course, the second time it didn't really hold up. Like I knew he would live, and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a flaw on the movie's part because it's a second watch.
Well, the thing that I sort of was thinking after I watched for the first time, because I knew that he made it back and I knew that, he killed all the suitors. I didn't know whether or not he survived and became king of Ithaca again. But, like, it's such an old story, everyone knows what happens. Like, if you're
Yes.
familiar with the Odyssey at all, you know the ending of the Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they didn't do enough throughout the movie to, like, give it any sort of stakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily know what those stakes could have been. Like you have to put like a clock on something, like or whatever. But I think I just like knew what was gonna happen, and so I was just like, oh, cool. Like,
Oh yeah, and that sums it up. Oh, cool.
yeah, yeah. Uh, So I don't know. I guess my final verdict is like it's an impressive movie. It's a cool movie. I would see it again. I don't know that it's necessarily a good movie.
I think it's decent.
Hmm.
I just wish something with a budget of this magnitude wasn't
Hmm.
just decent. You
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
we're throwing unlimited money at people, and they're making something relatively bland,
Hmm.
which is disappointing. You know.
Yeah. I wonder if that's I don't know. Like because the critical reception was kind of similar to what we've been discussing today. So I wonder if that's gonna sort of hurt him in the
Yeah, I think
future.
it's. I don't know. I think we've reached enough times past for the reception to sort of cool down, and there was a period at first where like every critique was sort of lumped in with the crowd that was like, anti woke whatever, which was a little frustrating
It's
because
the least
you
interesting
can.
part of the
It's
movie.
the least like again, it's so not a problem whatsoever,
Hmm.
but I think we've reached a point where like we can actually have discussions about the movie without
Yeah.
being blinded by one side or the other.
Yeah. And I think that second watch was really important to sort of like curb my amazement.
Yeah.
um yeah, and then you get to like actually analyze the movie and unfortunately like the analysis you walk away with is subpar.
I would agree. But yeah, again, I will see whatever Nolan does. Like I
Yes.
think one way or the other guaranteed to have you'll have things to say about it afterwards, good or bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like he's taking swings, and maybe they're safe swings, but they're big swings.
It's true.
But and so I appreciate that.
Hmm.
And it's good to have something that's somewhat different. It's not an original story, but it's a story we haven't seen much of these days.
Yeah.
And for that reason I appreciate it, you know?
Yeah. And maybe it won't like create this whole wave of adults being into Greek mythology, but I'm glad that it's back in the public sphere. I think.
Yeah, I like. I'm sure it's not going to get a ton of kids into Greek mythology like something like Percy Jackson will,
Mhm.
but I'm sure it's going to get some kids into it,
Yeah,
and that's a good thing.
for
That's a
sure,
good
for
thing.
sure. And if more people are reading Homer, I'm happy. Like that's cool. That's really cool.
It's always good when more people are reading.
Yes, 100%.
Hashtag English major.
And I think that's really what Christopher Nolan intended
Oh, I'm sure.
was for everyone to go read the Odyssey. Yeah, it would take just about as long as watching the movie.
Probably. I actually don't know how long it is,
It's
but
got to be over 3 hours.
I'm sure. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it's
But
long.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. What did I? Oh, I wanted to go on a small tangent about 4D.
Wait, yeah, I want to hear about
That
this.
was just yeah. That was just ridiculous. The seats were shaking around. It was my first 4D movie, and honestly, I think it was might have been like the best possible movie to see in 4D.
Yeah.
Maybe not as good as like Twisters or something, but maybe that's also for the best.
Do you have like glasses? Is it
I
like
think a lot sometimes you would, but the
okay?
Odyssey, like Nolan is like fervently anti 3D,
I appreciate
so
that. I am also they give me a headache. I don't like
yeah,
it.
like it's not that cool. It was cool like 30 years ago, but yeah, we had shaking seats. There was water spraying on us.
Mhm.
There's a button on the chair that you can press to turn off water, but
Oh.
like I'm not a pussy.
Where does the water come from?
There are like bars in front of you that have like little spray things, and it's not
Okay.
like a lot of water. It's like a mist,
Yeah.
but like the storm scenes were absurd. They were so fun. I
That's cool.
like didn't know what was going on, shaking around water in my face. There were these big lights on the ceiling that went off for lightning.
That's really cool.
Really cool. And then in like the sacking of Troy scenes, there was like a smoke machine that was going off
That's cool.
for the fire.
Right.
There was fake snow for some of the snow. It
That's
was like
awesome. Wait, I have
it's
to go
so
see a
awesome.
movie.
You should 100% go see a 4D movie. It's so fun.
I'm like,
Highly recommend.
has this been around?
I at least a couple. I don't know how long it's been a thing, but
Wow. I feel
it's
like this
like
is something that they could have thought of decades ago.
I'm sure, and like I think they've had elements of it
Mhm.
through the decades. Smell-o-vision. I don't know if they had smells or not. I
Oh my
can't
God,
recall.
wait. That's like shit, what's it called? Oh, the polyester.
Poly. Oh yes,
I love that
John
movie.
Waters.
Yes. That's so funny. Smell-o-vision. Were there smells involved?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
maybe there could have been, but I don't know.
I don't feel like there are smells associated with this movie that much.
Yeah,
Maybe salt.
salt. Yeah, the sea.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was just. I highly
That is
recommend that
sick.
experience.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
70 millimeter felt like more of a cinema type.
yeah. They had at my 70 millimeter, they did a raffle at the beginning.
Ooh,
Yeah, and so like this woman, I think she was German. I don't know. She was awesome. She came in and she was like, "Hello, everyone! It's time for the raffle." And me and Emmy, we're AMC Stubs members. We don't get raffle, okay? Like we get nothing at AMC.
no.
It's not a friendly environment, okay?
Yeah.
And so we walk in, and she's like, "Time for the raffle," and Emmy and I are like, "Us?" And then she raffled off, and it was like just the seat numbers or whatever, and we actually won, and we won a
Really?
strip of film from the
Oh,
movie.
that's how you got that.
Yeah. So it's like them in the forest with like the big guys.
Mm-hmm.
One of I think something in the water, and then like the Odyssey.
Yeah.
And if you hold up like your flashlight to it, then it shines on that
That's so
wall. It
cool.
was really sick. Yeah. Um, but that was awesome, and that's new favorite keepsake. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's so sick. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think
But
that something I appreciate is that this movie has brought a lot of people back to the theater.
definitely. I mean,
And
yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy. The
yeah,
last few months, if nothing else, have been great for theaters. I think, like,
yeah.
Spider-Man brought
Spider-Man.
in pre-COVID numbers, biggest opening weekend ever.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it
That's
beat
wild.
Endgame, which
Damn.
is insane. I don't think everyone knew it was gonna do well because it's fucking
Mhm.
Spider-Man. Nobody knew it was gonna do that well.
I would not have expected that.
No, not at all.
Wow.
And yeah, oh my gosh. I recorded a Spider-Man episode a week ago. I
Did.
need to edit.
Bro.
I haven't started yet.
Who was that with?
That was my friend Emma Joe from around here. Yeah,
Nice.
most featured guest on the pod, I think.
Was it 4 times? 3 times? 4 times?
It's been a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go Emma Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad people are going back to the theater.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen, I think, 12, 13 movies at the theater this summer.
Damn.
And so I'm a big like going to the movies type kind of person, and I'm really happy people are doing it.
Yeah.
It does
I
it
totally
does make
agree.
my seats worse, but that's okay. I'll take it.
It's a sacrifice we're willing to make. Yeah.
I recommend you go see Camiasma like the second it comes out before it starts getting like, half full theaters, because that movie is funny. And the theater I was at last night, maybe it was just like the right crowd for the movie, but like
I
it was
love a good crowd.
it was uproarious. Like I've never experienced a theater like that. It was so good. Same thing for Spider-Man. Spider-Man had a really good audience too.
I had a terrible audience in mind. There was
That sucks.
2 rows of like teenage, like middle school, high school girls that were like talking through a lot of the movie.
Wait,
It
I
was
saw your
very
review,
obnoxious.
and they were like, "Ew!" Every time someone kissed, right?
Yes. I'm like, dude, how old are we?
Ugh.
But still a good movie.
Yes,
Still a
definitely.
good movie. Anywho,
Well, to all of you listening at home, go to the movies.
go to the movies.
Go.
Watch the Odyssey if you haven't.
Yes, yeah.
Make up your own minds. Maybe we're just too grumpy.
Maybe. Really high expectations.
God forbid. But yeah, I guess we've been through everything.
We really have.
Yeah, good talk.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on, Regan.
Of course.
It's been a blast.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching and or listening to the pod. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, rate 5 stars, follow on Apple Podcasts,
OnlyFans,
Instagram, letterbox.com, all the things.
Yes.
And yeah, stay tuned for the next one, which will probably be from Scotland.
What?
All right. Excellent.